is a big, long journey, and if you keep focusing on the end, you're probably never going to make it because you're going to feel like it's too long, you know. I got really interested in drawing once all the kids were like, when they would look at my work, see it, and get excited about it and everything. So that's when I realized I had a talent. And I remember one time we were actually all talking outside, and everybody was, of course, talking about sports and everything. And then I mentioned that I want to be a artist, and everybody else was talking about being a football player or a basketball player or whatever. And then everybody just kind of looked at me crazy and started laughing. I love to draw, deep in my heart, but I also feel like I'm doing this to give back, to not let anybody down that has believed in me in the past. I wasn't even thinking about doing comics at first. I was just thinking about, going to school, going to college. Then, like, when graduation day came, I talked to my mom, realized that it was too expensive. She told me it was too expensive. And I was, of course, like, what am I going to do? So from that point, I was just like, okay, well, if I can't go to school for this, I'm still going to try to learn somehow. The thing that really made me feel like I can make money doing this is I started off doing graphics for musicians in Austin. I worked on a game for EA, was hired on as a character artist, and I learned how that company got started. From what I remember is a couple of artists, a programmer, whoever, they teamed up after working on one project for another game company, and then looking at where they're at now, I was thinking, hey, maybe I should go that route. And I had actually saved up a lot of money working there. And I thought to myself, like, okay, if there's really a time for me to work on my own project is now. I have the money to at least start it up, to legalize it, to buy the equipment that I need. This money is probably going to be spent anyway, whether or not it's on here. We just came up with the idea of a little character that bounces on balloons. Once we got to a specific point, we realized, hey, we might have something bigger on our hands than just a little free flash game. I've actually went a couple places over the past week or two, and like I pulled up at a Wendy's, the guy saw me at the window and pointed at me and was like, Up Ubi, and I was like, that's crazy. There may be success stories where somebody made something and 6 months later they're famous, rich, or whatever. But the majority of the time, it seems like that's nowhere near the case. I think if you're going to do it, you have to really set up milestones that are reachable. You have to break it down into small chunks and work at it one milestone at a time. It's a big, long journey. And if you keep focusing on the end, you're probably never going to make it because you're going to feel like it's too long, To make something good, you need help. Your team is what makes you. Like, I can't do anything without my team, If I could feel like I'm doing the greatest thing, I'm working on these assets, I'm creating these characters. But if my writer isn't into it and he isn't creating a great story, if my programmer isn't into it and he isn't putting it all together well and making the engine do its thing, then the project overall is going to suffer. With my team, the way it is now, I can get input from everybody from all angles, and we all can feel like it's our project that we worked on together. People want to see that you're serious about your craft before they can even have enough confidence in you to join themselves. Or else it'd be like a waste of time, Before we even finish this project, we have already started working on concepts for the next one, because we know that once you get a good thing started, you're going to need to keep going. Everything is important right now, from keeping up with the fans, as far as making sure if you get an email, write them back. Even if you are busy, you have to try to set aside the time for everything. Yeah, stick with it. My name is Andrew Augustin. I am the founder of Notion Games LLC. and we have just completed our first title for the iOS, and later to be ported to the Android, and it's called Up Ubi.